Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries.
And it's Andrew. What's going on, everybody?
God, this couch is already gonna end my life. Okay, and we have a new episode of This or That. So this is our fourth one? Is this our fourth?
Number 4.
Damn, wow.
And yes, we are on a black leather couch. We're simply here just to answer car questions, nothing else.
We don't even want, it was the intern's decision to put two of us on here.
To get us through college or something?
Yeah.
Right? Okay,
college.
anyways, so.
FAFSA's not paying the bills anymore.
The choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this, because this is where it's at.
So we have our first question moving forward. Jasper, what's the first question? And if you guys don't remember, This or That is about picking two things. You guys drop a comment below, either this or that, and we upvote them or downvote them, whichever ones get the most popular. We then review on this episode. So if you want your comment to be featured, you just have to drop it below, and hopefully you ask a good question. So.
And there's 12 questions today, and there's really good responses from last week too.
All right.
So keep them coming.
Jasper?
I'm gonna butcher this. Question 1 comes from Serlo Vera. Okay, track day or car show?
Oofta. Track day or car show? I really wish you could have both. You can have both, right? Every track car is a show car, but not every show car is a track car.
True,
That's the way
very
that it
true.
goes. I'd probably say track car. I enjoy car shows more. They're a little bit easier for me to get to. I enjoy meeting people, but having a car that's bred for going around a track is awesome. And even driving it not on track roadways is a lot of fun too. If you've owned a track-built Miata or like a, I don't know, maybe a potential 2001 Porsche Turbo, it's pretty fun to just kind of drive around all the time, but it does do well on the track. I'd say track car.
I'm gonna say show car for me, just because I have a show car. I think it depends on what you own too.
Yeah,
like
sure.
This dude's got like 2 cars potentially set up for the track, and then I built my car more for shows, which is why I have massive wheels on it and it's bagged, and I'm not worried about it going super fast. But I do enjoy the fast cars too. So yeah, it depends.
Yeah. Jasper, number 2.
Question number 2 comes from John Gilroy. Use most of budget for real wheels or buy reps and have money left over?
What would we do with the leftover money?
Buy suspension from fitmentindustries.com.
.com/suspension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. You go first. I mean, sales plug.
Yeah, so I think I would buy real wheels, but once again, I'm always like a 50-50 guy. I feel like it depends on what you're doing. So if you're doing like a budget build, you know, get a more inexpensive wheel, allow yourself a little more cha-ching for the aftermarket mods and your massive spoiler and your over fender kit and your glow kit. A little bit of satire there.
Yeah.
But no, I think I would get a real wheel. You know, if you just said, hey, here's like $5 grand for parts or whatever, just you know, get something ballin'.
I think I would go with real wheels, but not in the way that you think. Everybody thinks that they're these super expensive wheels. I can go pick up a set of like Ankies or like even Koenigs or something like that. And most people consider them to be a pretty good brand, and I'm not spending $4 grand on wheels, and I'll still have money left over to go do other ridiculous things with my car. So I would probably say real wheels, but I'm not talking like work or like old school Advans or the people that need to spend like $4 grand on a set of wheels. I just go spend like $1 grand instead of 4 because you can.
Yeah, and then you still have money left over.
Yeah, right?
So shop smart with your money.
If you guys want to learn more, I'm just kidding, I'm done. I'm just not gonna do it. Jasper, next question.
Question 3 comes from Jay Cabral. Autocross or drag racing?
So I've done both. I enjoy both. Autocross is a ton of fun. The community can be a little iffy sometimes in my eyes, but I enjoy it a lot because you get to like experience your car in the version of like a mini track almost. But God, I love drag racing too. Drag racing is so much fun, especially when you grudge race, just because you can line up with friends, you can line up with people right next to you, you run. I mean, it's a lot more than just going in a straight line in my opinion. I don't know, I'd probably say drag racing. I think it's more fun in my eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough call. It's like, you would really want to do both. Ideally, you know, because you can really see what your car is made out of, but once again, it's like you're going in a straight line, you get to go super fast, but you can do that on the highway. Autocross is like, you know, you're more allowed to just really beat the hell out of your car without having to like fly into a telephone pole or like some lady's, you know, Saturn or something.
That's true. I mean, you can go, you have a ton of fun at an autocross place, and you're still likely only going like 55 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, because you're braking and stopping and slaloming and doing all that sort of stuff.
And then some of those courses too, there's still telephone poles you can. I'm like hung up on a telephone pole.
Traffic cones ain't got nothing
There's
on
always
this
those
guy.
YouTube videos of people crashing the telephone poles. It makes me nervous. Okay,
telephone poles.
Question 4 comes from Cooper Doms. Modern muscle or old muscle cars?
You first.
Ooh. So we kind of covered like the, you know, the Charger and stuff from one of the other previous episodes. I'm not like a huge muscle car guy, but I think the older that I get, I have more appreciation for that, just because it's, you know, we're gonna be like those old guys in like 20, 30 years at a car show, like, oh, check out my Volkswagen and my Porsche.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
like,
gonna be unfortunate.
I think I would do old school muscle. Like my dad used to have a 78 Trans Am, and I remember seeing photos of like the big gold bird on the hood, T-tops, and every time I see that car at a car show, it looks so freaking badass. And then like the classic like 69 Camaro, like that body style is cool. Like, I would be that guy to get one and then stance it and then make people be mad at me.
Yeah, that you would do that. That would be easily accomplished if you did that.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
I'd probably say old school too. For me, I think that if you kept a new school car long enough to turn into old school, you would also appreciate it the same way. But there's something about like the stories that come with old cars, that when you go to a gas station, you go to a grocery store, you have an old car, people stop to talk to you about when they also had that old car, when they were in high school, or they raced their friend's Camaro on, you know, next to the water. Or, you know, I remember back when I had my Z, I'd get those stories all the time, and it was so freaking cool because people wanted to talk to you about this car and how much of an impact it had on their lives. Whereas with new cars, they just don't have that story yet. Old cars do. Old cars have a story. It's super cool to see.
Very true. Yeah, I've met a lot of really cool old dudes at shows. In fact, last summer too, there's a guy with like an old school Studebaker. I was so excited that I appreciated his car. Yeah. And just, it was really cool to talk to that guy. So yeah, I would say definitely old school all the way.
Question 5 comes from Kyle Markham. Debadged or solid color badges? So like black.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Or like taking them off.
So debadge or plasti dip them.
Why'd you have to say plasti dip?
I just, you know, that they're gonna plasti dip them.
Yeah.
They're not gonna.
Debadged, calling it now.
Yeah.
Debadged.
Agreed.
I used to think of it as like a way, I know a lot of people use it as a way to like hide what model they actually have. I remember even when I was younger, I took off my A6 because I don't want people to see
maybe they'll think it's an S4.
Maybe people will think it's an RS6 if they don't look at the exhaust. Yeah, I would just say debadge though. I think it's just a clean look. I do think though you gotta be careful, because if you debadge too much, it looks cheap. I think it can look really cheap.
Sometimes the trunk setup, depending on the configuration.
Yeah.
You know, the tail light layout, the trunk configuration, you know, as a coupe, a sedan, hatchback, whatever. Because sometimes, I don't know, I just see black emblems and I just think cheap. I think I just do away with them. I just deleted mine a couple months ago. There was 4, so it said Golf, All-Track, TSI, 4Motion. I'm like, what is all this? Like, get rid of this crap. So I took 1 off of each side, so now there's just 1 on each side.
Otherwise, if you black them out, I would just say paint them. Take them to powder coat or something, because you can make that look really good. My old AMG emblems, where I painted them like a midnight purple, so they were black, but like under a lot of light, they were and I thought that looked pretty nice because I didn't want to debadge it, you know. So
go for the debadge, man. Keep it clean.
Yeah.
Shoot us a picture of it.
You might want to check and make sure that camera's still on.
Question 6 comes from John Bueno.
John Bueno.
Large wheel diameter for show or small wheel diameter for performance?
You go first. You already know my answer.
I already know what you're gonna say.
Like, I know everything.
That's just so confused. Like, you can
have small wheels on a car show.
You can have small wheels on a car. Have you seen the Euro crowd with BBS wheels that they like upsize to 19s?
Yeah,
from
the
a
slant lips and stuff.
face?
Yeah.
The slants are like this big.
So many
is this
variations.
big, and then the lip is. It's just like crazy. I don't know, man. I'm not a huge fan of small wheels. I know dragsters do it all the time. They run it on Visions. They do it, you know, on all their modulars. I like bigger wheels, and we're actually dropping a video, which is going to be out this week. Whatever. We'll be dropping a video talking about wheel weight and how there's a myth and there's truth to it. But I would rather go with bigger wheels, to be honest. I think that I spend more of my time driving around casually than I do at an event that requires the difference
Little
in wheel
wheels,
weight.
yeah, agreed. I think the bigger wheel look is just, it's still in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I think on Hondas, little wheels are cool.
Yep.
You know, the classic like
The right car.
EG Civics, whatever. Once again,
Yeah.
right type of car, you know, right make and model, little set of wheels. Like Clutch does a lot of those smaller wheels and stuff.
Datsuns and stuff need small
They look
wheels,
super dope,
too.
but
yeah.
it's the make and model. You wouldn't want to see a Honda Civic on 20s. I think it looks stupid.
Yeah, that would look silly. Yeah, there's some old coupes and stuff that just don't. Older cars usually, unless they're a big car, shouldn't have big wheels on
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Newer models, bigger wheels.
because the wheel wells are huge.
That's the biggest wheel I've owned, 20s, and you can feel it. Like that car
Yeah.
is so slow now.
Yeah.
But it looks dope, and that's what I wanted to go for. That big wheel, like looks like a Matchbox car that you're playing with,
Yeah,
like
3,900 pound wheels. Wait, what?
300 million pounds per wheel.
Okay, question 7 comes from Slow STI XD.
That's a face. The XD's a face like,
Yeah.
it's a joke, get it?
NA1 NSX or Mark IV Supra?
I saw that one.
You first.
Good comment. Very controversial.
Just to specify.
I love these head-to-head with these multiple makes
had
and
one?
models.
No, just to specify like the NA1 NSX, that's like the
92 to 95, I think. Yeah, that's the classic like
Yeah.
NSX bike style or
Yeah.
Mark IV Supra.
Yeah.
I would take the NSX. I used to be a Honda guy. I love that car. Once again, car extremely ahead of its
Yeah.
time. The body lines are beautiful. The motor sounds amazing. We know a couple dudes around
Yeah.
town that have one. I have a buddy Jeff that has a full carbon fiber NSX. Beautiful car, awesome work. It sounds great. I would want to drive that more as like a daily or a show car. I feel like everyone with the Mark IV Supras, it's like a track car,
Yeah.
or like a drag car if it's late. I
Yeah.
see those with like drag tires, and you look like you're ready to go.
I feel like
crush.
the Mark IV is a grudge car. Like
Yeah.
the Mark IV is the car that you own to tell people, hey, let's race.
Yeah.
Because they just want to stomp your ass. Like that is, Mark IVs are not like, they are pretty in their own specific way, but they're really focused around a crowd of high horsepower, straight line, drag racing,
Yeah.
like just let's kill it, you know? So it's forged internals, 1,300 horsepower. I would say an NSX. I like the NSX, the body lines, the design. It was ahead of its time. The mid-engine, you know, the everything, the drivetrain. It's all incredible. And on top of that, a lot of people that I've had talked to before I bought my own car, I've asked them what car they enjoyed the most. And one of the guys that I actually talked to, he's a friend in Houston. He had a turbo, he had an NSX, and he had an E63 AMG. And I asked him which one he enjoyed the most. And he actually said the NSX was his favorite one to drive out of all three of them.
That's cool to
because
hear.
of the purity of the driving experience is what he said. And it's not the fastest, and it's still, you know, it's not the quickest or, you know, the best, but when he gets in that car, he feels like it is the best car to drive.
That car will turn more heads, because when I've seen my buddies park that car, it was a Lotus, is a Ferrari, is a
Yeah.
Lamborghini. Little kids, they don't even know
Yeah.
what it is. Like it's a timeless car. I feel like
Yeah.
the Supra, like you said, you look at it and you're like, it looks dope, but then you think of Fast and Furious.
Yep.
So
Question 8 comes from John Hugh. Lowering springs with sport shocks or coilovers?
Coils. I would say coils. I mean,
coils for sure, but
I know what you're saying with the sport shocks, because there are some sport shocks that outperform basic coilovers. I think for me, I focus more on the versatility of the ride height than I would the difference in shock quality. I think if I'm answering this question correctly.
yeah, and I would agree to that, because my Mark 6 GLI, I went from a H&R lowering spring out of the Bilsting shocks.
Yep.
Amazing performance just right off the bat, even though it was like a 1.5-inch lowering spring. The guy it was a H&R Sport Springs, and it was amazing ride quality. But when you really want to dump your car obviously coilovers are going to be where it's at, and most of the time you're going to get the replacement shock with that anyways. But
I think it's tough too though, because I mean, for me, I feel like you can get a lot of value out of the versatility of a coilover versus just having an upgraded shock and lowering spring. And unless you're dialing in, unless you know that lowering spring and upgraded shock are gonna get you to the exact point that you want, like no questions asked, then I would say, yeah, go with that. But if you don't know and you're kind of spitballing, you're gonna be better off with a coilover, because a coilover gives you the variance of mistakes, where you're gonna put it in there and be like, oh, I gotta turn it down a little bit, oh, I gotta change this, oh, I gotta do that. You can't do that when you put in a shock.
You are at the mercy of how your car settles on that spring, because I remember when I first did mine, I was like, oh, this looks cool, it's not slammed, right? You know, I didn't need slammed, but then once they kind of settled in,
they go
after
down.
a couple months, they settle in, and then you're at the mercy of wherever it's at. If you start hard cornering and you're rubbing, you're SOL. So I mean, with a coilover, you can get it exact, you can readjust. And my guess is you would probably want to go lower. You would see it, it's going to look cool. You're going to think, I want this thing freaking lower. Now I'm screwed. I need to buy coilovers. So.
Question 9 comes from Addison Bates. Mates, left-hand drive or right-hand drive manual?
I've always wanted to own a right-hand drive car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no questions asked. I drove a Laurel last year. It was a ton of fun.
A Yanni? Or a Laurel?
Laurel. It's Laurel. It's just Laurel.
I'm glad that's over with. It was
I didn't even know that was a thing actually. For like a week. I saw a shirt at the mall that said Laurel or Yanni, and I was like, what am I reading? Like, is this what growing up is like?
At least it wasn't Tide Pods. So.
Oh God. Yeah, I would say right-hand drive. I think that it's just a uniqueness to it. I'm sure people that have right-hand drive cars would say the opposite, but I like them.
I did have a chance to drive my buddy's old. He had an Integra, and he had an old, is it an EF Civic? I think like an 88 or 89.
Okay.
I think it is the really boxy one, and he had like the the JDM flare kit and everything, and it's super cool car, like amazing shape, and it was just really weird. It was just like fun. It felt really cool how you can just hug the road on like right-hand turns, and you're just like looking out the window.
Yeah, because you're on the appropriate side of the car and on the road. So when you're turning into something, you can see. I suppose though, if you're turning left, you can see it too, but whatever.
You'd have to do it just for the experience of owning one. It would be kind of rad. Not like makes me want to go like shop on like those like sites where you import cars.
Yeah,
I don't need to be doing that.
We don't have the time or the money.
That's true. Spend enough on my car now.
Question 10 comes from Yuri Van Dam, BMW or Audi?
I already know my answer. I'm gonna say you're gonna say BMW.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want a part of me would say BMW, because BMW is the ultimate driving machine, right? It is by far a very good car to own. I've never owned one, right? And so, or at least like an M series car. I don't consider my little winter driver BMWs. But I have driven a lot of Audis, and I've driven the R8 5.2, I've driven a 5.2 twin turboed, I've driven a 4.2 naturally aspirated, I've driven an RS6, I've driven an RS4, I've driven S4s, I've driven S5s, I've driven RS5s, I've driven like the whole lineup of Audi, and their cars are freaking incredible.
Yep.
And living up north and having like the all-wheel drive and having the tech in Audi for like being up here up north, I don't know if supersedes is the right word, but I just feel like it's a little bit better than BMW. And that's only because of the drivability. Drivability for up here is super important, and if you guys live in SoCal or a nice state that doesn't have snow or rain 7 months out of the year, you may not understand, but the roads up here are trash. The roads up here can be a pain. The salt and the snow are terrible. Getting into parking lots suck. Having Audi's all-wheel drive system is like bar none, probably the best all-wheel drive system I've ever owned.
And then they're gonna say, what about X-Drive, bro?
Yeah, but X-Drive doesn't, like, I can't compare X-Drive to Quattro because I believe Quattro is better. That's just my opinion.
Agreed.
But X-Drive is just BMW's answer to like Audi's Quattro and Mercedes-Benz's, all-wheel drive system. It's just not as good. In my opinion, I think Audi has the best Quattro system or all-wheel drive system out there. But BMWs are cool cars. Don't hate me. I know they're a good car. They're a great car. I just can't.
Yeah, once again, if you're talking M series compared to S series or RS series
yeah.
Audis, then I would still do the Audi, because just like Alex, I've had the opportunity to drive a lot of those. Worked at a car dealership, and it's just the engineering, once again, like you said, the tech, it's so ahead of its time. And even when we would get these older trade-ins, I'm thinking, this is like a 2006?
Yeah.
It's just crazy, like the Navi, and then, you know, obviously when you go from sport, comfort, dynamic, I mean, you can really feel the difference, the power, and then when you tune those cars, it's just amazing. But we did see some really cool M's ripping around the track at SEMA.
Yeah.
So if you guys get a chance to see that, Continental had a
that's
killer
the thing
display.
is that, like, if it was June all year round in Wisconsin, BMW hands down.
Yeah.
But I got to think about the other 6 months out of the year where it's 30 degrees, we've got wind and snow, and I got to pack, you know, a bunch of stuff in the back of my car plus
May.
a trunk.
It's not still
you
May
know,
here.
and BMW doesn't. They don't really have that option in the same way Audi does, in my opinion.
Yep. So Audi.
Sorry, BMW guys. Sorry.
We still love you though.
They're like, screw you guys. I'm unsubscribing. BMWs are trash. Wait, no. Audis are trash.
Jasper has a BMW. He's crying right now. There's tears dripping.
Anyway, question 11 comes from D. Carden. Would you rather have one free ProCharger kit for a year or one free Garrett turbo
I
kit?
saw that one.
Wow. What was the brand for the supercharger?
So if you want to send us a ProCharger or a
ProCharger?
turbo for free, we'll strap it on something here.
I've never owned a Pro-charged car.
I don't think I've ever even
car.
drove a ProCharge car.
And this is where it gets really finicky because people do get a little hypey with the ProCharge, supercharged, turbocharged.
Got to get it right.
I'd probably say turbocharged because I think I have a little bit more knowledge of that, but I don't know anything really about pro charging.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that I know it's extremely popular on certain makes and models.
Mustangs and stuff, yeah.
But I would probably take a turbo. I still think turbo leg is super fun to play around with because you can just feather it right where you want it, and then you can just build boost. It's fun to two-step. It's fun to have launch control.
Right.
I love it all. I'd probably say turbo, and I'm a supercharger guy, but if that's not an option, I'd probably say turbo.
And that's like definitely a tough call because once again, I think it depends on the make and model. But
Yeah.
I've owned turbo cars. I've drove a ton of turbo cars. I've never drove anything ProCharge. So honestly, I don't know. It could be freaking awesome. But I mean, I understand how a turbo works. The ProCharger, like, you know, I get it, but I haven't drove enough to know that, you know, to get down to the mechanics of it, you know, what boosts better, you know, what has better like low end, and you know, I just give me a turbo.
For once you guys got us, I'm not entirely sure
Yeah.
pro charging technical aspects,
What's that?
performance.
Ask some Mustang guys.
You can ask Corey.
Yeah.
Next question.
Last one, right? Last one.
Last one. Question 12 comes from Devi Madhar. It'll be on the video. Sleeper car or track car?
Sleeper or track car.
You first.
So if we're gonna do sleeper, that's just, you would have no idea, like super, like a minivan or like a Prius or something.
I think of like a sleeper more like an E63. Like people don't know if
like
E63 is fast
Or
if
an
you're
old
not
school
a car
Galant
guy.
VR4. That
Yeah.
was like such a cool sleeper car my buddy had back in the day because I think it was just like super old, kind of boxy. It's like, what is this? And then
Yeah.
obnoxious.
I mean, there are a lot of cars out there that, like, I don't think, if you guys watch Netflix and you watch like the fastest car or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
I feel like when they use the term sleeper, they use it in a very odd sense. When I think of sleeper, I think of like a car that you don't really expect to be fast, but's fast. But I don't think it has to be in the sense of like, yeah, I put, you know, a 5.6 or 5.4 in a minivan and I turbocharged
Yeah.
it. I think that's way different. I would, if we're talking that, I would say track. But if we're talking more like the dude has an E63 AMG and he took the AMG badge off and he's running around with 500 horse and he's just spanking cars, I'd say that. I'd say sleeper on that.
Or is your track car more just, is it the stripped out interior components? It's more drag slick tires. Like, it would be cool to have a track car too that's just obnoxious with big aero and stuff on it. So
yeah, true.
But I don't know. Probably the sleeper. I've never done that. I'm always the guy that like has to do all these like exterior mods. Like my car has to look cool, and I do those mods before I do the horsepower.
You understand, Mom? It's gonna look cool.
It has to look cool for the gram.
It's not a phase. How many? Wait, the gram?
What?
You have an
Golden
Instagram?
grams.
That's what I
That's
thought.
it, huh?
That's all 12.
That's a wrap.
So that is our 4th episode of This or That. Let us know in the comments what you guys would like to see next. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 50,000. We are actually almost there.
Super close.
And then you'll be hearing us asking you to subscribe so we can get to 100,000 because that's a cool number and we like that number.
Yeah, and we'll do something cool for 50,000. So tell us what you guys want to see. We're always open to doing the new series. We started our new Fitment news, which was pretty rad. We got good feedback on that.
Cheesy and hilariously terrible.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think of this, and we'll catch you guys next week.
All right, peace.
Oh.